You made Gilgo killings a priority from day one of your administration, going so far as to visit Ocean Parkway, I believe on the day you were sworn in 2021. So what were you thinking on the way there?
Yeah, there's a lot of backstories to why I went there so early on in my time frame. As the newly sworn in police commissioner, I had a conversation with the county executive, Steve Ballone, and there were a couple of things that he asked me to take a closer look at. And there was a reform plan that he wanted to have implemented, but also I think one of the main reasons why he nominated me to be police commissioner because of my investigative background. You know, I did 30 years at NYPD. Out of that, 12 years I was part of conducting investigations or overseeing them. So one of the things that I thought would be important to me to kind of get a little bit of a better understanding is take a look at where the crime scene is and see what was there. Is there something that we could have missed? Is there something that the investigators for the last 12 years could have did a little bit better with? And that's something that I learned during my time frame in the city as being a detective, being a sergeant in the detective squad, as well as being the chief of detectives. It's always good to take a look at the crime scene and evaluate what's there and what can we do better to get the investigation going in the right direction. And that's one of the main reasons why I went over there, and I thought it was instrumental, just me taking a look at the landscape of Ocean Parkway and what's going on in that area.
Well, interesting. Shortly thereafter, or sometime thereafter, you said, "I believe this case is solvable."
Yeah.
From my brief interview with what's been done so far, I like our chances.
No one before you, to my recollection, had ever said anything like this before.
Yeah, so I think every case is solvable. I think the most important thing is providing the appropriate resources to an investigation, and that's one of the things that I want to believe that I brought to this investigation is identifying dedicated investigators to this case. One of the things that I quickly learned after speaking to my Detective Lieutenant Kevin Byra, that they had one investigator assigned to the case and he was still catching other cases. And just knowing what I know and just knowing from my time frame in the city, I knew that was going to get the job done. And we had to take people out of what's called catching orders and pretty much dedicate them to solely investigating this homicide that's really long overdue of being closed out or identifying a subject. So it was a nice eye-opener for me after I was briefed by Detective Lieutenant Kevin Byra regarding the landscape of who was investigating it. I asked Kevin, I said, listen, this is what we're going to do going forward. I want a sergeant. I want at least 2 detectives dedicated and assigned to this case. And that got the ball rolling.
Well, it's interesting because you did mention your time in the city, but you've also worked with other people, DA Ray Tierney and Suffolk Sheriff Dr. Errol Toulon. They all worked in New York City, too. Mm-hmm. So did that perspective between city and suburb, that perspective kind of help you in taking a different look at this case?
So my relationship with Ray Tierney, we did some work together while I was the chief of detectives in Brooklyn North, and he was a assistant district attorney working under Eric Gonzalez, the DA out there. And we did a couple of conspiracy gang takedowns out there, really great work, partnering up with Eric Gonzalez and Ray Tierney during that time frame. I didn't have much of a relationship with Earl, but I knew of him. I knew he was a solid law enforcement official out here, and I knew it was going to be important for us to work together. And not just for the Gilgo case, for just making Suffolk County safe. And I prioritized, when I got here, making sure I worked with Ray, I worked with Earl, and if we had to get other resources involved with either Gilgo or other investigations, I made myself available to do that.
Now, your NYPD background, that come in handy because you did have to work with NYPD and also Nassau County in this case.
Yeah. So the one thing I learned in NYPD, and I kind of shared this during our press conference, is I learned a lot regarding making sure we worked with all of our law enforcement officials. A lot of people may not be aware of this, but when I called and reached out to the FBI regarding them joining the task force, they were reluctant at first. They were concerned about, I guess, some past relationships where they weren't necessarily part of being inside the loop of the case. So I reassured them. I said, that's something that you don't have to worry about any further. I need you. I need your expertise. I need your specialty teams to really be part of this team of investigators that I'm looking to put together. Secondly, and there's a lot of different avenues I want to talk about, but I thought it was important that we were transparent. You take a look at some of the podcasts and a lot of different things that you were saying about the Suffolk County Police Department and their role in Gilgo, and they're covering it up. I thought it was important that we became transparent. So one of the things that I took a closer look at is, well, why are we not sharing the Shannon Gilbert audio and letting it be known that we believe that is an unfortunate incident? Like, why are we not sharing that? And after I spoke to my detective lieutenant and a couple other investigators, that was something that we thought was important to share. So let people know, hey, listen, your perception of what happened, your perception of the Suffolk County Police Department is inaccurate. And playing that audio, I think, changed it in the right direction. So in essence, my NYPD experience, learning to be transparent, to get people to trust our organization, I believe was very, very helpful going forward with the investigation.
So let's talk a bit about the suspect. There's been a lot of reporting on how some reexamination of old evidence led to the arrest of the suspect, Rex Heuermann. But I would imagine, and you'll tell me, you had to go back and did you do re-interviews, new interviews? I mean, it was more than that, yes?
Not only did we do re-interviews, and there was a lot of different investigative steps that I can't tell you every little thing because I'm sure you understand it's still going through a judicial process. But I even took the time out and sat down with John Ray and to see what type of information he had. He was claiming that the Suffolk County Police Department wasn't getting in contact with him regarding information that he had regarding Shannon Gilbert. So I made sure that I made myself available for him and see what he had to do or say, excuse me. I wanted to make sure that anybody that was in our custody was being debriefed. That's why I reached out to Earl Toulon and asked him to put a liaison that's going to speak to anybody who might have been involved in sex work between the time frame of 2007 and 2011, just to kind of re-interview them and see if they knew anything about the Gilgo investigation. So there were a lot of different avenues that we tackled regarding trying to rejuvenate this case. I even took a look at the Crime Stoppers tip award. It was at $25,000. I said, listen, we got to double it. We got to raise it to $50,000. That may get somebody to come forward. The Megan Waterman video over in Hauppauge. I said, listen, let's show that. Maybe that will show people that we're trying to get somebody to come forward and give us information. Any little help can assist us going in the right direction. So putting the task force together, coming with different innovative ideas, things that I learned in the city, allowed us to be in a place where we are today, which was to identify Rex Heuermann and bring him into custody.
Well, I'm going to double back on Shannon Gilbert for a while. Is there anything in your investigation that changes the notion that her death was accidental or that she was not a part of this mass murders out there?
It's a horrible accident. It's a horrible accident, and as of right now, myself and the investigators assigned to the homicide squad still believe that it was just an incident where she ran into the marsh and unfortunately drowned on that horrible day.
You've said that the green Avalanche, the Chevy Avalanche, was key. How did you get there?
So one of the investigators that was assigned to the task force She came from the state police, and I'll get into